Hello here, David Risley with Blog Marketing Academy, here to do a blog critique for John Corcoran. Hopefully I'm saying your name right, John. His website is at Smart Business Revolution. John actually purchased a blog critique from me and decided to go ahead and have it done in public, so that's what we're going to be doing here. So there's going to be a video on this blog post. I've also sent John a private report with more details of my findings on his blog, but some of them will be in this blog post, and then you guys can also check it out and give your feedback as well, because I'm sure he'd value some of my readers' feedback. It's great to have more viewpoints, right? So it's at smartbusinessrevolution.com. Now, before we get into it, his main objective is to, the short term is to get more law clients. He is a lawyer based out in California, so he wanted to get some more clients for his law practice. But he also ultimately, long term, wants to build a scalable product-based business so that it's not so much based on his time and his service. He wants to be less dependent on his practice. His traffic did drop by about half after he recently changed his domain name. He used to have a different domain name. He changed it recently to smartbusinessrevolution.com, and he's now getting at least an average of about 150 visitors per day on the site, but that's about half apparently of what it used to. Revenue was about 50 to 100 per month on advertising, and he's getting some random call-ins for his law practice. And he has the Business Profit Academy that's on this site, but it's not selling super well. And the email list needs to get some more growth in place. So, and his target market is small business owners who want to grow their business. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and jump right into smartbusinessrevolution.com. The first thing is the design looks nice. I know, John, that you recently changed your design based on some advice from Chris Garrett. And I think that, I don't know what it used to look like before, but the theme is nice. You're using a nice Genesis theme here, and I think it looks nice. One big thing that I mentioned in the report is that I think your header should be tightened up. I think it looks a little spread out as it is now, so I would recommend that you tighten this header area so that it's the same width as your content. So you'd have your logo sitting around here, and you'd have the picture of you sitting around here, and keep it all in the same column. When we look at your opt-in, I think it's way too vague right now. For one, you're not giving anything away, and I think that you need to definitely do that. One of the ideas that I mentioned in my report to you, John, was to take some snippets out of your Business Profit Academy, turn that into a video series, kind of like what I've done with the 30-day challenge, and basically allow people to opt in for that. It sounds to me, based on what on the sales page for Business Profit Academy, that you've got some great stuff in there. So I think you could probably repurpose some of it rather than having to create something from scratch. And then it's also going to stand out really nicely rather than just like some ebook or something. You could still create an ebook. I think there'd be some value to that. What you may have noticed on my blog is that the ebook, the Six-Figure Blogger Blueprint that I used to have people opt in for, I now give away with no opt-in required. It's just a totally free download. So it might be something that you want to consider. The other thing about this opt-in area, other than lack of giveaway, is that it's your headline, Learn More, Join the Revolution. It's really, really vague. It doesn't tell me what this site is about or who it's for. Now, that's something that I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about soon, because I think you've also got a bit of a brand disconnect here. But when you look at that headline, it needs to communicate who the site is for and some kind of a benefit. And right now, you're asking me to join a revolution that I don't even know exists. I don't know what this is all about. You're asking me to join the community, and again, I don't even know what the hell that community is for. I don't see any evidence here of a community. So it's really a big disconnect here. Change this to something that targets, who you're talking to. If you're talking to small business owners looking for legal advice, then have something that lends itself to that. If it's expanding small businesses, lend itself to that, et cetera, et cetera. Now, as we go down, we've got, again, no opt-in form in your sidebar. Now, here on the home page, you can get away with it because you got this big one, but as you dig into the rest of your site, you've got the same sidebar here, and you've got no opt-in there. So you definitely want to have an opt-in on the top of your sidebar above anything else. Now, I also mentioned, or you mentioned, that you were making 50 to 100 per month on advertising. I assume that was with your prior layout, because I don't actually see any banner ads here except for this one, which is for your own thing. So, and I think that's a good thing, actually. I would not worry about putting those ads back in place. 50 to 100 a month just isn't that big of a deal, especially if your biggest goals are to get them to buy your product or to contact you for legal service. Those are much bigger money makers for you, so don't worry about distracting your readers with stupid advertising. Excuse me. Let's see here. I think the filed under and these tags, I think you can get rid of all that, because nobody really uses them, and they just take up space on screen. Okay, so this blog post is, I'm going to use this as my branch off into my comment about your branding. You told me, John, that you're targeting small business owners, people with, I assume, established small businesses who want to grow them. Now, the first thing here is that if you're a lawyer and you want to get people to contact you for legal services of some kind, then I'm seeing a disconnect there in terms of what makes you able to help people expand a small business if you're a lawyer. And this is not a comment on lawyers or anything like that. It's just that I would think that you'd be giving me legal advice, things about how to protect my business, how to have it set up in a secure way, things like that. For me, the idea of a lawyer using that as a qualification to come in here and tell me how to expand my business doesn't really connect to me. So that's something you're going to have to address, because I assume that if I'm thinking that, other people are as well. Now, it could be that people come to this website and they don't really, they don't know that you're a lawyer. But again, if you're trying to get them to contact your firm for services, then they're going to know you're a lawyer. And again, okay, there's a little bit of a disconnect. The other aspect of this is that you told me specifically in your email that you were not trying to target the work at home, make money online type of crowd, but yet I'm looking at this blog post here and it says why quitting your job to work at home can suck. I understand, it's like, okay, you're saying it sucks or what have you, but you are targeting people of that mindset who are thinking about doing that. So you want to make sure that the content that you're creating jives with your brand. Even this one about books may or may not jive. It doesn't necessarily have much to do with the target, with your target market. If we go down, I see, this one probably does. Dropbox, I don't know, may or may not. I guess you could relate it for an entrepreneur. Merchant, yeah. Your content is it looks good. It's just I want to make sure that you really fine tune who you're speaking to. My gut is telling me that you're going a little bit too big with the people that you're that you're trying to target here, and the whole law versus business expansion thing is hanging me up a little bit. So the one of the things that I've recommended in my report to you would be to actually determine who your ideal reader would be, who your ideal customer is. Find out even from people who have bought from you in the past, whether it be in the legal side of things or on the academy, and interview them. Actually get on the phone and talk to them and find out what makes them tick, what they need and want, what they're most looking for, things like that. And it will help you get right from the horse's mouth what direction you should be going, rather than getting mixed up in other markets. I see you're interviewing my friend Adam Baker here. I think I saw one about Trevor Malch, who's another guy that I know. It seems like you might be flirting with the make money online type of space or the blogging space. And thing is, you just want to make sure that you're not doing something that is crisscrossing your own personal interests with the brand that you say you're trying to make. So hopefully that was a long-winded way of making that make sense for you, John. Let me click over to one of your posts. Good. I like your font. It's good size. Okay, good. You've got the opt-in. Didn't notice that before. I think you should definitely customize these opt-ins to look more in tune with your site. I know you probably just set this up, but do take the time to customize that, because that blue and this yellow, it looks a little cheesy, especially on your site, because your site looks pretty nice. Okay, I mentioned this in my report to you as well, John, but your footer is kind of a waste right now. Nobody uses these. And not only that, your disclaimer is just like a big waste of space. So what I would focus on here is an opt-in in your footer, and then maybe a short form bio of yourself, like something really short with a click that says learn more about me, or, you know, about John, whatever. Link it off to your bio, and put those things in your footer. It's a lot better use of space. This disclaimer should be on a page of its own and linked to down here in the footer. Same thing, by the way, with this privacy policy. It does not need to be in your header. So put that on an independent page, which looks like it already is, and put it down as a footer link. It does not need to take up valuable space in your header. Looking at your new here, I mentioned this in my report to you as well, but it doesn't really do anything right now. It doesn't really have any meat to it. It just kind of goes into talking about, you know, it's kind of like the old, like, welcome to my site, you know, the #1 source of blah blah on the internet. I mean, I'm not saying that's not what you do, but I've seen so many people do that, and it's just it's very focused on you, and I think it needs to have some more material meat here. So new here, not as in, okay, this is what my website does, but new here in terms of, okay, let's start some kind of a journey to get you to an outcome that you want, and we're going to start right here with this information. I think that is a much better use of a page like this than just talk. This is basically just about page number 2 on your site. It really doesn't do anything. I would recommend getting rid of this new here link until you have something more meaty for this page, and actually put a home link there, because it's also not that obvious how to get back to your home page right now. I know you can click on the logo, but a lot of people might not realize that. Your about page looks pretty nice. So you've got a really good formula here where it's focusing on benefit of the site before it starts talking about you. So I think that's great. Your bio, I read it. It's actually pretty impressive. So I would find a way to see if you could highlight these things a little bit better. Maybe even look into putting some photos of you in these roles, because this photo is great. It shows you with the family, but I think some professional photos might actually also work as well, especially if you're targeting small business owners and people who are looking for legal advice. You might want to make sure that again, this comes down to interviewing them and finding out what makes them tick, but you want to make sure that what they're expecting to see in terms of the professionalism that you give off is what you're communicating with the photos that you use. But it's a good about page. I do like it. Best of, it's good, but it doesn't have very much on it. Which leads me to another point. You've got a lot of stuff. I'm assuming that you've got a lot of posts on here because your archives are so big. And if in that case, you might want to consider putting a search form on here, because it doesn't have one right now. And then have a system set up where you can monitor what people are searching for. Because if they're searching for things that you don't have, it gives you some really good intelligence as to the demand, as well as to what they're expecting when they arrive on a site like this. Also change this. This is California Law Report, which is the old name of your site. You want to make sure it jives with the new brand. Resources is good. Not a whole lot to change here. Contact, pretty basic stuff. So this is good. The only thing you might want to do is add some purposes to your contact page to make it clear that it's not, hey, I'm just like some random contact just to say hey, but hey, contact me if you want, service A, service B, service C, and contact me in order to get that advice from my legal firm. Give it a purpose, turn it into a lead of some kind. And again, don't worry about the disclaimer. I know you're a lawyer, but you're really overdoing the legalese. Just hide it down your footer. It just needs to be there. It doesn't need to be, smacking people in the eye sockets every time they see it. Okay, work with me. This is good. I'm not sure. I mean, the header and everything disappear, but actually that's not totally a bad thing. But you want to make sure that this branches off into some other offer pages. If you look at my service page on Blog Marketing Academy, you'll see that I do something similar to this, but I link off into more information on the various services that I provide. And there's also no way to get back to the main site, so keep that in mind. I already mentioned getting rid of that link. All right, so the Business Profit Academy, right now it's a separate website that you're linking to, which is all well and good, but I think it would be better off integrating all that into your main blog, and make this be your product, essentially, or at least one of your products for Smart Business Revolution. Really tie it into this brand of Smart Business Revolution. I think that will probably work a lot better for you. It also gets rid of this disconnect of clicking on a header menu item and it goes to a completely different site. And also, like I mentioned before, you can repurpose some of what you got inside the Academy and turn that into a video challenge that you can have people opt in for. I think it'll get your opt-in rate up quite a bit. Okay, so off the top of my head, that is what comes to mind on looking at your site, John. Hopefully this gives you some good advice. And as usual, the report that I'm sending to you as a PDF has a lot more detail on it and a lot more actionable stuff on it. So you can go ahead and check that out. For anybody else watching this video, hopefully you've learned some things from watching me evaluate John's site that perhaps you can apply to yours. And if you're interested in getting a blog critique of your own site from me, then go to the services page on Blog Marketing Academy and you can learn more about that there. It comes with a video like this in public if you want it, and it does give you some additional exposure to my audience, but you can also do a private critique where basically I will do what I just did, but we'll do it in live and in person over Skype or GoToMeeting or something like that. It's also two-way, so you can ask me questions as I go through things. And basically, it's like a little consultation. And I still do send you a private PDF report of my actual findings, which is usually a lot more detailed than when I go over in a video. So that's at smartbusinessrevolution.com. Check it out, guys, and I will see you guys later.